And I was just like, okay, well, this is my husband, so I'm gonna just, go with it. And it just so happened, serendipitously, that I ran across that passage. And I was like, no. That's when I learned to say no effectively, completely, and absolutely.
Gotcha.
No, I can't go for that. As Hall and Oates would say, I can't go for that. No can do. So
Hold on one
that
second,
was
y'all. I'm gonna
because
give me
I
a little
considered.
coffee.
I could use some coffee
All right.
myself too, but I ain't gonna jump off yet. Mella, you telling a story. Mella, I got it all
Oh, not
set
in the
up.
middle of faith.
Yeah, I got it all
Yeah.
set
So
up, Mella.
my fate was to discover um a way to maintain my liberty. That was my fate. Like um it's like
Hmm.
I really think about stuff like that. Your fate. Now, people that have encountered things that have disturbed them even to this day, are they supposed to ask themselves whether or not it was their fate to, endure that? I can't have conversations like that with those people that have gone through something that I can't attest to. That would be unfair, especially if I have an affinity for them and I care about their well-being and emotional, psychological, and spiritual health. I'm not going to sit up there and re-traumatize anybody. You know. So I want to have a conversation with somebody that um doesn't have a problem with the topic.
The
So,
topic of faith, yes. Um, to give you quick introduction, I'm here talking with the lovely Miss Mella. Through the aid of Bon Cherry Zoom chat. My name is Wody Mac, or just call me Mac. And the topic that we're gonna be focusing in on, zeroing in on right now for about 15 minutes, 20 minutes, is faith and where we stand when it comes to religion and also our own personal beliefs and upbringing and our beliefs. But that fate has in the outcomes in our life. Mella, good afternoon, good morning. Yes. So you were
hi.
referencing just a story. You were referencing a story right now that you feel that your fate was to be liberated or your liberty. Am I quoting you correctly?
Yes, sir.
Liberty.
I'm
There's
getting my Bible right now. You might hear some wind chimes.
some wind chimes.
Um, yeah, I'm getting my Bible because you're a man of the Word, and I want to be able to study with you while we discuss this topic.
All right, that's what's up. I'm cool
I
with
was
that.
raised Christian. I was raised Baptist, as a matter of fact. So
Yeah.
um,
Let's
I
let's
do
not
have a
let's not hit them
Bible.
too hard in the head. You know what I mean? Let's not. We do got some folks here
All
that
right.
they have different belief systems. So, I guess we'll try to keep it, somewhat neutral on some things. But I have a belief myself, and you can tell me how you feel about this. I think for a lot of people, they have uh, they're in tune with their spirituality if they have a belief in fate. How do you feel about that?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because that means that you're willing to submit your thoughts to something greater than uh, superficial ideology, or dogma.
Right.
It's like you believe that you serve a purpose that has nothing to do with your own will. And it's very compelling. It's very compelling when you discover that you've done something generous, benevolent, which you would normally not do. And you ask yourself, why did I do that? Why was I so kind? Why was I so generous? Why did I extend this graciousness?
You
And
believe
as it
some people
turns
believe you
out,
were moved by the spirit in those cases. Some people
and
say that the
that's
spirit
what I'm
moved you.
saying. The fate, and that's
Yeah.
yeah, fate, and that's where I that's what I think fate is. When there are some things that are beyond your control, and you just do it. You're just compelled to do some things that are beyond your understanding. Um,
Yes, man.
you know, and I don't really feel like doing Bible study or nothing right there, but I'm pretty sure it's in the, it's all, it's in religious texts
Yes,
as to
yes.
what compel people to do something other than what they are normally uh positioned to do. Like they go out of their way to do things because they're compelled to do it. And so is it your fate to be a vessel of use? Is it your fate to be abused, and then you turn around and you become um, a, a patron to advocate for against abuse, and you are the most outspoken uh, person for that cause, and it turns out that you've actually enlightened someone and inspired someone. You know what I'm saying? It's like, why do people go through things that they find just just unpleasant? Why do people go through things that are unpleasant when they really didn't have to? Like, is that their fate? I've asked myself those mind-numbing questions. I find it to be senseless. It's really senseless to turn the OCD switch on and ask yourself those types of deep spiritual questions. I find it more useful to just enjoy life while you have it.
Right.
That's my position. Like, that is a curious topic,
Mhm.
fate, especially. And I'll tell you what that centers around. Right,
Mhm.
my mother. The reason why I'm kind of almost obsessed about that topic is because of my mother.
Ah, okay.
Um, my mother didn't have the best childhood. She wasn't molested, however, she was mistreated. She was um, talked down upon, made fun of because she had to wear glasses, like at 4 years old. And not just regular glasses, but like thick, according to her, ugly glasses. And she's
Mhm.
always had a problem with the fact that she was teased a lot because of it. And what's what's tripped out is that she's an absolutely gorgeous woman. Like 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 really, really, really like in her day,
Mhm.
like stopping traffic. She's just got all the curves a man like and a smile to go with it type of gorgeous. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
And
that's right.
it's just that she was never encouraged to focus on her beauty because she wore glasses, and that made her um
Self-conscious.
she would, yeah, that really prevented her from living her best life, you know. And so here I come, you know, when she married my father, she was a virgin and everything. And so,
About
you
how old
know,
was she when she met your father?
she was 18 and they got married at 19.
Okay.
So here
So,
I come, right,
right.
into the world. Uh, and she was very, she didn't, how can I put this? She didn't get a lot of support because you know, my mother's, my grandmother's family didn't like my father because they thought he was slick, and and they just didn't like, slick guys. You
Mhm.
know, they wanted something better for her, but she was in love. So here I come, and so she didn't get a lot of support, and she found herself uh becoming depressed. She didn't really engage with me as a mother should. And fortunately, I was able to be cared for by my grandparents. And, you know, I don't know why, to this day, why it was my fate to not have a bonding relationship with my mother. Like, why, you know how sometimes you go through that, why didn't my mother want to spend time with me type of thing. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah, I
that's
get what you're
really what's
saying.
behind this whole fate question. It doesn't have to be a big fucking deal. I don't have any profound insights more so than anybody else. It's more or
Right.
less a mommy issue, if anything. Um, and but see, what I had to consider is that not everybody has things that simple that have occurred in their childhood. Like, like some people wish all they had to worry about was their mother not being emotionally available to them. You know what I mean? It's like, what the fuck you got to complain about? Okay, your mother was depressed
Right.
and she
Yeah.
just didn't feel like being a parent for a couple of years, so she let her parents raise you. You know,
Oh, okay.
which
Okay.
was probably for the best. I mean, because you don't want to be a depressed parent,
Yeah.
raising a child. You want to be in your best state of
But
health.
Mella,
So
let me hold you right there and
it was a good
interject
deal.
something right quick, cause as you was bringing up a different couple of different points, right? Where you said your mother,
Oh yeah,
her, where she was a very beautiful woman, where in your opinion she possibly could have been a model or maybe even in the entertainment industry because of her looks. Do you agree?
absolutely,
Right. So her
absolutely.
meeting your father at about the age of 18 or 19. This is again going back to some bit of the spirituality in question. Some people like my mother and some of my parents and some of my family members, excuse me, they have the saying that everything happens for a reason, right? Almost in that same vein of fate. Was it fate to be? And when I say everything happens for a reason, for instance, you have a gentleman who, if he would have went to school and did everything he was supposed to, and he would have had an opportunity or a scholarship to go to college and play professional ball, could have probably been one of the greatest of all time, like a Michael Jordan type, right? But instead, he decided to hang out with people who were going on a different path in life. You know what I mean? And that is your free will. What supersedes almost everything is your free will and your choice to make decisions that you feel is best for you. And so sometimes where it may be fate, it could be fate for you if you take the the fork in the road, so to speak. If you took this left instead of that right, your fate was that was laying for you at the end of this fork was maybe a professional career this way, like your mother, for instance. If she would have garnered up the confidence and maybe got some contacts or something like that, she could have been a model. Maybe would have moved out of whatever state that she was in at the time and never met your father. And ergo, what could have happened? No Mella. You see what I'm saying? Now, whatever that your mother was going through, I don't know too much on, and I'm not gonna go in too deeply in that. But then that can also be, for people when they always look back, as we do when we get older, especially when we get
Well,
more experience under our belt. What could have been if I would have took a different route in life? You know what I'm saying? So
yeah,
that's why
I
I
wanted to
believe that.
bring context. I wanted to bring context as to why I was initially curious about the topic of faith.
Yes.
Um, that was the purpose of telling the story about my mother. What I will say is that in relationship to anybody that's ever been a gang member, um, I have a relative that I know firsthand how they became a gang member. They were riding a brand new bicycle, right?
Mm-hmm.
And some hoods of the street knocked them off and accused him of being a part of some neighborhood gang, and he said he wasn't, and they were like, you might as well be, and they took his bike, they beat him up, took his bike, and instead of telling us about it, you know, he talked to our cousins, and his cousins were like, "Yeah, what you're gonna have to do is," and next thing I know, he's doing things that it takes to get in the gang. Like he robbed.
Mm-hmm.
And he started doing criminal shit. Okay, he started doing criminal stuff to prove himself, to get this affiliation, and he was no longer that sweet brother. He became different.
Yeah, yeah,
And so, was it his fate to ask his cousins what to do, as opposed to coming to his parents and saying, "Look, somebody jumped me and took the bike you bought for me. When can we move?" It's like he didn't do
yeah.
that. He chose his free will. According to his
Free
free
will.
will,
Yes,
he
yes, it's
made
free
the
will.
decision to seek counsel with, someone that's not old enough to give him sensible counsel,
Yeah,
and so that was his free will. And because of that counsel, as opposed to his parents, his path became so turbulent, because of that one moment in time. He had a choice to seek counsel from his cousins that were
yeah.
already gang members,
Mm-hmm.
or his parents that would have tried to figure something out. And he made his choice. And because of that choice, it led him down a path of unnecessary turmoil. So,
He's still around
was that
today.
his fate?
He's still around today, right?
No,
He's still alive and well.
as he got his life together at the age of 50, where he died from medical complications of digestive issues. But it, he had only started getting his life together within the last 5 years. Prior to that, his
Yeah.
life was in and out of jail and violence and crime, and it just one, like we just never knew whether or not he was going to be shot, killed, or if he killed somebody. We just never. He was all in. Okay, he was
Mm-hmm.
an all in VL, and it was terrible. Because that's my brother.
Yeah.
And so
Older
it's
brother
hard
too,
being a
right?
black man in the world.
Older brother, right?
Not at all. Not at all.
That was your younger brother?
Yes.
Oh man.
Yes.
Yeah, even tough. So that was almost like he took on like a motherly role, especially with him. About how many years apart were y'all?
It wasn't that long apart. It was what was devastating is that
No, I mean like how many years in age
I
is
was
difference between you and him? Like
no,
five or
I'm a
six?
year I was a year I was a year older than him.
Okay,
I'm
okay,
the eldest,
okay.
and he's a year younger. So I was to even do anything other than tell my mother that it looks like he's been in a fight.
Yeah.
That's all I said. Like the day that happened, I told her that it looked like he was in a fight, and um, as months passed, he started changing for the worse, and as time went on, I mean, we're talking like about a decade, maybe 2 decades, almost maybe 15 years later, he confessed the chronological events that led up to him being a criminal. And he pinpointed that moment in time. And he said, "I guess it was my fate making
Now
that
I have
decision."
a
He said, "I guess
I
it was
have a
my fate."
stance on that though myself. As far as fate is concerned, right? A lot of our lives
Mhm.
can be, this is again speaking in a different type of realm. Some people look at, why would somebody that we put our trust in, a higher power, allow bad things to happen? But unfortunately, as this world is, there is good, there is evil. You can't have a positive without a negative, right? So even in that sense, So if somebody may be going through something of the most terrible of things, like I had a cousin who died from recently this past year from a extremely rare disease. I can't recall the name of it, but what it did was it deteriorated your internal organs, like it shriveled up everything into the point that it basically killed you. The survival rate of it was like almost a fractional of a percentage, right? She passed in her mid 40s, well, mid to late 40s, this past October. Again, and this disease in of
My
itself,
condolences.
yes, yes. It really hurt my heart. It really hurt my heart because I'm sitting there saying like, this young lady who was, you know, so intelligent, graduated from college, and she was my cousin again. So I guess I'm being a little biased, but she was a sports fan. She had a lot of different interests and so on and so forth. Why would this happen to somebody so young? She's leaving her brother and her mother still alive here, and it really took a toll on her mother. If I could find the name of that disease, people would be able to know. But it only affects women, which is unfortunately, and then it starts happening like to women like in their mid to late 30s if they do catch it. um I can't think of the name of it.
You
Somebody
said
probably,
it deteriorates
it
inner
deteriorates
organs.
your interior organs. It basically eats you from the inside out. But
Hmm.
it only seems to affect women in their 30s and up, like when it starts like seeing signs of it, and can come up out of nowhere. You know
And
what I
it's
mean?
not cancer.
No, and it's not a cancer, and it's an extremely rare
All
disease.
right.
Like only like maybe like 10% or less of people in the world would catch it. Like the number of cases that's reported worldwide is like 100,000 or less. Very, very, yeah, unfortunate again. But like, well, again, what I was saying, like people will look at these and like, somebody we serve or people who serve a higher power, why would they allow? Oh, my camera went out. Pardon me. Yeah, why would a higher power that we love allow something like that to happen to good people who are what people we consider good people? Correct. So again, people look at it like it can be a testimony to somebody else's life, right? Even though a lot of people they don't want to hear that, but
Yeah,
like, yo,
some
my
people
loved
do
one is
look at it like
gone.
that.
Yeah, it's like my loved one is gone. Somebody that I love died. I don't care about none of that. You know what I mean? What am I learning from this? So it may not be for that one person to get the message or get the story from it. You know what I mean? Again, everything, like I said, people do have that belief. Everything happens for a reason, but it can be uh, a story for someone else to understand, to spend time with your loved ones, learn to love or love to forgive, learn to forgive those that you may be holding a gripe against, that especially those that you actually care about within your heart. You know what I'm saying? And who knows whatever the lesson may be, but that's what sometimes I take from a lot of those. And Lord only knows, like when my family members, when I have them pass, you know what I mean? I can't really in that moment try to see a bigger picture, especially when I feel like they've gone too soon or it's something a debilitating disease. But I just like a lot of people like to say, you know what I mean, everything happens for a reason. I'm gonna put it in God's hand and trust that, you know what I mean. That lesson right there would be meant for somebody. Mella,
Yeah. In the event that you discover the name of what um what happened,
yeah,
then
I wish I could
um
find it
people,
quick, but I don't
yeah,
know the
I
name of
mean,
it.
take your time, of course. It's just that uh it's really difficult to look at the sunny side of the street when it comes to the circumstances that you just announced, because that is someone that was a beacon of light and had
Lupus.
everything
I think it might
going
be
for her.
lupus. Was it lupus? Nah, it can't be it. Is it?
Okay,
Was it lupus?
that's an
It's,
autoimmune condition, and it's possible that it was, if it was, it's just, it's it's hard to justify,
no, I don't think that
like,
was it.
where to find. That's what I mean by fate, right? It's like it's hard to really reconcile fate about an occurrence that is so gut wrenching like that. that's a gut wrenching,
Mm-hmm.
you know, terrible thing. And it's like, how am I supposed to make sense of this? Because there's, when it comes to bereavement, unless you make peace with fate, it's difficult to climb out of the depression of the injustice of it. It's like, damn, why did it have to happen to her? You
Right,
know,
right.
it should have, if anything, it should have happened to some other some person that was no good. Why did it have to happen to her? And it's difficult in the case of bereavement as to how you would reconcile fate. It's very, very difficult to do that. You know,
Yeah.
um, some things like when a mother passes on, if she's 85 years old, at least you could say, well, she was 85, she lived a good life. But when it comes to someone as young as your loved one had been, for their life to end in such a way that obviously was painful, physically painful, um, it's hard to reconcile fate with that. It's hard to figure out how to get past that bereavement.
Mm-hmm.
So, my condolences. Um, I know
Oh
that
yeah.
that's
It's been
very
a few
difficult,
months. It's been a few months now. Yes, definitely. I was just looking up right now as he was talking to see because I wanted to be accurate, but I have to ask again a family member. But the everything in the science here that they says that dealing with the lupus, all the current conditions that I was describing to you were lupus, an autoimmune disease in which the immune system malfunctions, attacks the cells of the body, and destroys them. There are several types of lupus, and from what it's saying, it seems that it primarily affects women. It's estimated that 5 million people have a form of lupus. Although present worldwide, some groups are more affected than others.
hmm
90% for reasons that are difficult to determine. 90% of cases concern women of childbearing age. Right. And
hmm
even
Absolutely.
what's more funny, if I'm not mistaken here, with a vast array of symptoms. Yeah, other populations, 9 out of 10 lupus patients are women. Disease takes many forms and its symptoms vary considerably from one individual to another. Other populations particularly affected are West Indians and African Americans. And as you can see, I'm African American and my family comes from the West Indies. So double knock there.
hmm
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But
Yeah, and it's I can relate to this because I was really close. Like I got a blood test that would indicate the markers of lupus,
mm-hmm,
and what I decided to do in the interest of a life insurance policy was not continue the test. Right?
mm-hmm,
Like once I think they call it It's been so long ago, but it's something that tests your antibodies and your bloodstream, and the indicators from what they told me were suspect for lupus, and
mm-hmm.
I was just like, well, that's messed up.
Yeah.
And what I decided to do was refrain from further testing in order for me not to have a large premium payment on the life insurance policy. And I know this sounds kind of crooked, you
Yeah.
know, but what I also did was not take the potential diagnosis, uh, I took for granted. Like I
Mm-hmm.
said, in the event that they were, because I started putting this in my mind, in the event they were to diagnose me with lupus, what would they do to me? And then that's when I started investigating how the healthcare system works and how they just want to dispense all this man-made medication.
Yeah.
And I was thinking to myself, there's got to be another way, holistically, to bring my body back into balance. And I
Yeah.
was able, thanks to Google and YouTube videos and things that I look up medically.
Ain't
I was
YouTube
able
great?
to find a way.
Ain't YouTube great
It's
sometimes?
amazing when you're focused on a goal.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But if you're just frolicking to join conversations with people that you consider your people,
Yeah.
like, I enjoy conversations with my people online. However, it doesn't change the fact that my primary goal to start being on YouTube in the first place was to find medical advisements
Yeah.
that would prohibit the acceleration of a medical indicator that I might have suffered from lupus. Now, whether I'm in the clear or not, I don't know.
Yeah.
What I will say is that when I was first introduced to that possibility, I was less healthier than I am now. I'm much more healthier now because of these medical advisements on YouTube that gave me insight as to what I need to do to change my life around, stop being mindless about how I consume food. And I like fried foods a lot. Like I was just like I would fry anything,
Yeah,
and
don't we
I
all?
was frying it in
Don't we all?
I
The
was
air
frying
fryer
it
is
in
amazing, ain't
oil.
it? The air fryer is
I
amazing.
haven't I I haven't gone so far. I bought one for my son, but I haven't gotten one for myself. I stopped using the microwave. I mean, I just went really, really radical with it because I was scared. I was afraid of everything. It got to the point, and keep in mind, I was taking Motrin like Tic Tacs, so I tore my stomach up in that fashion, and so I wasn't able to absorb nutrients even if I was eating right. I was really, really in bad shape. Even though I looked fine, my insides were deteriorating, and I didn't know why until I came across,
Yeah.
certain doctors that were, announcing things online about holistic.
So you mean these men weren't lying on him, Mella? You say you look fine. That's what a lot of these other gentlemen are saying. So you mean they weren't lying?
That was the time I had my picture up, and I've given a few people my a link to an Instagram account that I have no idea how to access now, but I've actually presented myself to people so I could demonstrate that I'm an authentic person because I was accused of being a troll at one time, and I was just like, man, that's kind of unfair that the people that I congregate with on their panels had no idea what I look like. So I just offered a link to my Instagram, and I think I cammed up once or twice, and I had a picture.
I'm not sure,
what do you
but
call things?
let me hold you right
Avatar
there.
picture.
I'm not sure, but one
But
time I was on this stream and I don't know if it was you. It could have been somebody else, but there was one woman that I never seen before. I think cammed up, was sitting on the couch next to a lamp on a table stand. White walls was white. Kind of colorful, flowery type couch, about shoulder length head, caramel complexion. By chance, that sound like your description? Slender Bill?
no,
Okay, that was somebody else.
no, I don't have a lamp next to a couch.
Okay.
But
Mella,
no.
we can continue this conversation right here on Bomb's Zoom chat. It's been 30 minutes. I know already. You dropped some jewels right there, and maybe something that's gonna be edifying to somebody.
Pleasure.
So I'm gonna end it right here
don't
because it
think,
hit 30 minutes, and I know there's probably not gonna be a lot of people that's gonna want to watch it because we know we touched a little bit deep to the heart and the soul, and everybody don't want to hear that. That's why the numbers is dropping in the chat box right now. Mella, but thank you so much, Mella, for taking the time. I'm gonna still be here with you. I'm gonna just end my stream and I'm closing out on my end. Thank you, Mella.
Yeah.